Now, there are three ways integrating your true self cultivates your inner peace. I love talking about the ways that taking ourselves through this journey actually cultivates our inner peace because it opens you up to possibilities. I know these were the possibilities that honestly I would have loved to have when I started my journey. And I also know these are the same possibilities that I'm reminded of every day, even though I've been on this journey, excuse me, for 13 years. These are the very things that continue to come up for me. There are three things. The first is self-acceptance. When you're integrating the true self and the false self, you are accepting the parts of the false self that are not in alignment. You're learning from them and you are allowing yourself to be okay with their presence. And then your true self has an opportunity to show you the loving way of operating that, the loving way of bringing those two sides of yourself into alignment. And this is all about self acceptance. Because in order for you to be at peace with yourself, it's going to be required that you accept the parts of yourself that you don't like. And when you are in that process of integrating your true self with your false self, that is exactly what you're doing. You are accepting the parts of yourself that you don't like by learning from them and then growing from them and bringing it into the parts of you that you do love so that you can integrate, so that you can feel a greater sense of wholeness within yourself because you're not rejecting yourself, you are accepting yourself. The second way that integration of our true self and a false self cultivates our inner peace is self forgiveness. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for self forgiveness when it comes to inner peace. You are going to be constantly presented with invitations to forgive yourself because you're going to notice the ways in which you have moved out of alignment. You're going to notice that there were some ways that you moved out of alignment because of your conditioning, which you learned from people, from society, from your family, from your friends. And then there are going to be times when you're moving out of alignment because of your habits, the things that you have learned to do in other times of your life that helped you grow, that helped you get certain outcomes. And now you are engaging in those habits because it's familiar to you. That is a recipe for judgment. That is a recipe for resentment. That is a recipe for anger towards yourself. And here is why self forgiveness is one of the byproducts of integrating your true self with your past self. Because when you forgive yourself, you are able to look at yourself through that lens of unconditional love, which is what your true self brings to the table. And when you are looking at the parts of yourself that you are choosing to forgive, you're bringing in your false self and then you bring them together by learning from one and allowing it to support you in showing up in the way that you desire. It's a beautiful thing. And it works so nicely together, y'all, because when we are in the energy of self acceptance and self forgiveness towards ourselves, guess what happens? You get the third way in which integration cultivates inner peace, which is grace. Grace for others, grace for yourself. When you start to give yourself that inner peace, that self acceptance, and you give yourself that self forgiveness, man, it's easy to give it to other people. It's a lot easier to be gentle with other people when they are having a moment where they're stepping outside of the character that they desire to embody. It's a lot helpful and a lot more joyful to look at people where they are and to be okay with it, which is what grace is all about because we're giving it to ourselves. And it changes everything. It changes everything. I'm going to give you the bonus in 1 second. Before I give you that bonus, I want to know what's coming up for you in the comments below. What are you receiving? What has been a takeaway of yours so far? Let me know in the chat.